In a world filled with competition and the struggle for power, there was one man who could change the course of events without having an army or wealth. His name was Eos, and despite his simplicity, he possessed an incredible ability to influence those around him. On a crucial day, as the princes were fighting for control of the city, Eos approached one of them and whispered just one word into his ear. "People see you as you see yourself." This single word, so simple yet powerful, changed everything. The prince who heard it suddenly regained his confidence and began speaking as though he were the supreme leader, causing everyone to follow him. Eos didn't need to be at the forefront to rule. He was behind the scenes, planting the truth he wanted in the minds of others. And just like that, the city was his. If you're wondering how an ordinary person can hold such power, and how you too can position yourself at the center of power without being in the spotlight, this video is exactly what you need. Stay tuned and discover how to take control of the events around you and achieve success. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more secrets that will change your life. Rule 31. Control the options of others and make them choose what you want. Explanation of the rule. In the world of power struggles and control, it is not enough to impose your will directly on others. The smarter approach is to make them feel as if they are free in their choices, while in reality, they are walking within options that you have carefully mapped out. This is the essence of this rule, giving people the illusion of freedom within the scope of your control. People dislike the feeling of being forced or openly controlled, but they are comfortable with making decisions on their own, even if the decision was predetermined. By offering multiple alternatives that all serve your interest, you can control them with little to no resistance. Historical story: Napoleon Bonaparte and the hesitant generals. In 1805, just before the Battle of Austerlitz, French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte faced hesitation from some of his generals. The French army was exhausted, and the generals suggested retreating, while Napoleon was planning one of his greatest victories. Instead of scolding them or imposing his decision, he sat with them and said, "We have two options. The first is to retreat and show weakness, and the second is to deceive the enemy into thinking we are in a state of collapse, then strike them when they approach with overconfidence. You decide." While it seemed that the decision was theirs, Napoleon had left them with only one real option: deception and surprise attack. The generals felt as though they made the decision themselves, but they were actually following the plan Napoleon had in mind from the beginning. The moral: make your opponent's choices like a golden cage, letting them roam freely inside it, unaware that they are trapped. Controlling options is a refined art of leadership and influence, mastered only by those who understand human nature and manipulate freedom as a musician manipulates notes. Rule 32. Leverage the imagination of others to bring them to your side. Explanation of the rule. The human mind is not driven by logic alone. It is seduced by imagination, and the image influences it more than reality, while dreams have a greater impact than facts. This rule is based on a deep truth about human nature. People follow those who awaken their imagination, not those who constrain them with reality. Facts are harsh, while illusions are pleasurable, which is why many great leaders, advocates, politicians, and merchants don't present the facts. Instead, they create attractive images, make dreamy promises, and let the audience fill in the gaps with their imagination. The idea is not to deceive outright, but to exploit the deep yearning inside humans for a better life, a higher goal, or a promised salvation. Historical story: Christopher Columbus and the imagination of Indian gold. At the end of the 15th century, Christopher Columbus stood before Queen Isabella of Spain, telling her about a new route to the Indies, promising her endless gold, spices, and a new world that would bring glory to Spain. What he had were merely inaccurate maps and a small amount of geographical evidence. But he presented his idea as an amazing vision of a rich, different world that no European foot had yet trod upon. His evidence wasn't logically convincing, but his imagination was captivating. The Queen was seduced by dreams, ships set sail, and what started as an illusion became reality years later. Although he never reached India, Columbus discovered a route to the New World, and his name was immortalized in history. Contemporary practical example: smart marketing. A company sells a new mobile phone. The technical specifications are good, but not extraordinary. Instead of talking about the processor, battery, and resolution, the marketing department launches a campaign titled "Free Your Moments." The advertisement shows a young person traveling, capturing sunsets, calling their mother, managing a project remotely, all from their phone. People don't buy the phone, they buy the dream that has been painted for them. They've sold the imagination, not the metal and processor. The moral: whoever masters moving the imagination moves people, just as a captain steers a ship in open seas. Powerful illusions are stronger than dull facts. Do not just address minds. Dwell in the hearts of people with your imagination, and they will follow you without question. Rule 33. Discover everyone's weaknesses and manipulate them. Explanation of the rule: every person has a vulnerability, no matter how powerful or prestigious they may be. It could be a buried emotion, a suppressed ambition, a hidden fear, or an old wound that is never healed. If you seek influence and power, you must become a skilled hunter of hearts, observing closely, listening more than you speak, and analyzing not only to understand, but to control. Power does not always mean direct confrontation. Often, it lies in the subtle touch on an old wound, or a whisper at a moment of doubt. By knowing someone's weakness, you gain access to a key to their personality. At that point, you can lead them, bring them down, or win them over. Historical story: Emperor Nero and the advisor Seneca. In ancient Rome, Emperor Nero was a reckless young man, driven by passions and prone to violence. His advisor, the philosopher Seneca, knew that Nero harbored a deep desire to be loved by the people and regarded as a hero. Although he was a tyrant, Nero suffered from feelings of inferiority and a need for acceptance. Seneca exploited this vulnerability by constantly showing admiration for Nero's intelligence, emphasizing the people's love for him, even when he committed crimes. By doing so, Seneca gained Nero's absolute trust and was able to influence his decisions frequently without appearing to control him. Seneca was not the strongest, but he understood Nero better than Nero understood himself. Contemporary practical example: politics and media. During an election campaign, advisors of one candidate know that their opponent's weakness is a deep desire to appear as a just and wise man. They begin to subtly spread rumors in the media, suggesting that his recent decisions are harming justice. It's not a direct attack, but a soft questioning. The opposing candidate, driven by his need to prove the rumors wrong, starts making hasty decisions, over-explaining himself and appearing anxious in front of the cameras. As a result, he loses the image he has worked so hard to build. The moral: don't search for the door, but for the crack in the wall. If you want to influence people, or even protect yourself from them, you must master the art of reading hidden weaknesses. Some people are unaffected by force, but their walls will collapse with a word that touches an unseen pain. Rule 34. Act like a king to be treated like a king. Explanation of the rule: in the world of influence, people don't respect you because you deserve it, but because you impose it with your presence. Charisma is not just the result of wealth or lineage. It is born from the confidence and steadiness you project, and the sense of entitlement you convey. When you walk as if waiting for permission, people will treat you like a servant. But when you move as if you were born to lead, they will make way for you. Acting like a king doesn't mean arrogance, but believing in your worth and setting a standard for yourself that you don't lower. Don't ask too much, don't justify too much, and don't chase after approval. Kings don't beg. Decisions are expected from them, not pleas. Historical story: Alexander the Great among the Persian kings. When Alexander the Macedonian entered the Persian Empire, he was still in his early 20s, and his enemy, King Darius III, commanded armies many times larger than his own. However, from the very first moment, Alexander acted like a victorious king, not a young adventurer. In every encounter with kings or princes of the territories he conquered, he showed no hesitation or excessive humility. He sat at the head of the table, dictating his terms, speaking confidently as one who believes the world was made for him to rule. When Darius sent him peace offers and ceasefire proposals, Alexander arrogantly rejected them, as if the very logic of power and prestige prevented him from negotiating. The result? The morale of his enemies was shattered before their armies were. He forced them to see him as a king because he believed in himself as one before he was crowned. Contemporary practical example: in personal relationships, a person walks into a job interview, anxious, apologizing excessively, speaking out of fear of rejection. The hiring manager sees them as just another applicant among many. Meanwhile, another person enters with confidence, sitting straight, making eye contact, and speaking about their skills as if they know their worth. Even if they are not the best candidate, their presence commands respect and admiration. The irony? The first may be more qualified, but the second is treated seriously because they acted as if they deserved the position from the start. The moral: people see themselves in you. If they see your submission, they will treat you as inferior. If they see your majesty, they will elevate you, even if you don't ask. Don't wait for others to grant you status. Create your own status by your actions. A king is not one who wears the crown, but one who doesn't need it to be treated as a king. Rule 35. Master the art of timing. Explanation of the rule. Time is a double-edged sword. It can be your ally if you use it wisely, or your enemy if you rush or delay. Power does not lie in the action alone, but in choosing the moment when that action will have the greatest impact and effect. Successful people are not always the fastest, but the smartest in timing. They know when to wait with the patience of a sniper and when to strike with the speed of lightning. In politics, business, and even love, timing is everything. Whoever masters the art of timing seems to possess foresight, when in reality, they've simply read the signs and waited for the moment to ripen. Historical story: Saladin and the recapture of Jerusalem. In the 12th century, after years of the Crusades, the Muslim leader Saladin was waiting for the right opportunity to recapture Jerusalem from the Crusaders. He did not rush into battle, despite public and religious pressure. Instead, he focused on uniting his forces and preparing the front lines from within. Years passed, and when the right moment came, after the Battle of Hattin, where he crushed the Crusader armies, he did not hesitate for a second. He entered Jerusalem with grandeur, without spilling any blood, after breaking his enemy mentally. His victory was not only military, but also temporal. He waited for the moment when history would speak. Had he attacked earlier, unprepared, Jerusalem would have been lost, and so would he. Contemporary practical example. In entrepreneurship, an entrepreneur has a brilliant idea for a mobile app. However, they don't rush to launch it immediately. Instead, they observe the market, waiting for the moment when a strong competitor weakens or a similar company shuts down. Then, when the time is right, they launch their product with full force, capturing the market that was crowded a year ago. The secret is not just in innovation, but in the perfect timing that gives the innovation its full impact. The moral: like a sword, timing does not forgive the one who mishandles it. If you are too early, it scratches you, and if you are too late, it kills you. Beware of haste, for it trips you before you can see the ground. Beware of hesitation, for it wastes opportunities that may never return. The wise do not move too often, but when they do, they make an unforgettable difference. In the world of power and influence, there is no place for the weak or hesitant. Time is unforgiving, and opportunities wait for no one. Those who cannot control others' choices do not hold power. Those who fail to stir their imagination remain unknown. And those who do not discover their enemy's weaknesses are the first to fall. Wisdom lies not in the speed of action, but in the ability to choose the perfect moment to strike decisively. Dignity is earned through inner strength, but few understand how to act like kings to be treated like kings. In the end, nothing proves your existence in this world but your ability to impose yourself, even if your methods are harsh. The power of the moment, mastering timing, and understanding human nature is what governs the game. And if you think morality will save you, Know that history remembers only the powerful, even if their strength was built on deception, patience, or cruelty. The world is not for the merciful, but for those who know when to raise their swords and when to strike in the shadows.